task. And Kathy's lived through a few wars with us, so she's got all the battle wounds to go back on. So setting up our store, all the logistics for that, she was able to help Sue and Erin do that. So Kathy, behind the scenes, with all the experience she gained 2 years ago, was able to make sure everything was just going to run just so. And then we got two newbies, Sue Gerold and Erin Blackburn. Sue is the new Kathy, who runs our office on a day-to-day basis. And Erin is a half-time employee, but you'd never know it from what she's able to accomplish in the course of a week. And she's just been a phenomenal addition to the team over the past year. The two of them put together the bookstore, have managed it over the last 3 days, have done a terrific job, and again, just helping out with a lot of logistics. And we got Erin up here at the microphone yesterday morning. She and Suzette collaborated on the awards ceremony and put that all together. So you can see everybody had a role, everybody had to perform their role well to pull this thing off the way we have over the last couple of days. So thank you to the entire Eden Home Office team for all that you have done and all that you continue to do to bring this to life. Quick thank you again to our sponsors, particularly to Jack York, who's not here. He had to fly out this morning, but Jack was right on last night, as usual, as the MC of Eden's Got Talent. And this room was mostly full last night, which was fantastic, because not only did we have fun, but we had a chance to appreciate some really incredibly talented individuals who had the guts to get up in front of a very big audience, some of them doing things they've done before and others doing something they've never done before. So it was pretty remarkable, just completely wowed by that. And we had a bunch of winners at the end of the day, and then we danced away a couple of hours together. So it was really a lot of fun. So thanks to Jack for handling that for us and being such a good sport. And just behind Jack, all the other sponsors, particularly Kimberly Clark. Kimberly Clark provided the funding for the video work that's going on in the back of the room. Caven Peterson and his team have been actively videoing a lot of the content over the last 3 days. We're going to have somewhere around 12 hours or so captured that will be out on YouTube. Some of it's already there. The rest of it will be posted over the next couple of days. And in a very thoughtful way, Caven and his team are breaking up some of the longer segments into smaller pieces. I really highly recommend that you share this experience with people back in your communities, friends, family, neighbors, coworkers, etc. Sit them down in front of a computer and take them through some of the sessions that you've been able to experience here the last couple of days, and let them feel the impact as well. I think there are great opportunities to share that in a learning mode and just in an enjoyment mode. So please take advantage of that. Yes. I want to thank the long list of speakers and presenters. Again, this show is only as good as the material that we're able to share with you over the course of 2.5 days. The speakers who had a chance to get up here in front of all of you, and then the folks who put on educational sessions over the course of the 3 days. I've heard so much good feedback about the quality of the information that's being shared. And I could just tell, I didn't see a lot of people hanging around out in the free space. When there was a session scheduled, people were in those sessions. And that is not true of many of the conferences that I attend personally. So that's testimony to the quality of the material that was put forward the last couple of days for all of you to enjoy. So thank you to all of them. Yep, round of applause. And then last but certainly not least are our international representatives. I am just in awe because I can't speak a foreign language. I've never, anybody in my family, my father spoke some Italian, when I was growing up, but not much. So I've never really been exposed to that. So I really appreciate people who are bi or trilingual. And most of our international representatives speak multiple languages. I had the opportunity to go to Germany last September to attend a conference that was put on by Franz and Silke here, sitting in front of us from Germany. And English is not their native tongue. And we had an international panel that got up here and spoke to us in our language. And that, to me, is pretty incredible. So thank you. Thank you very much. Really, pretty incredible stuff. And it just goes to show, too, that Eden, the philosophy, cuts across geographic boundaries, ethnic boundaries, cultural boundaries. It doesn't matter where you live, what care setting you happen to work in, what your situation is. The Eden philosophy works. When practiced appropriately, the principles work. And that, to me, is the amazing power of what we teach and what we get to do. And I say get to do. It's a privilege, really, to do what we do every day. And I think that's something we have to remember. It's really hard work, but boy, is it gratifying. And when you see the impact that it can have on people's lives, as we've gotten to see firsthand over the last 3 days together, that to me just speaks volumes, absolute volumes. So thank you to the international folks. Thanks to all of you, and thanks to everybody who made this event possible. So I'm not going to go on for very long here, but I do need to kind of put my stamp on the event. I've been here 6 years now. This is just about my 6-year anniversary. My first week on the job was our conference in 2010 in Denver, Colorado. Talk about trial by fire. I mean, literally, my first day of employment, I was in the mix with well over 400 people at our conference in Denver. Getting to meet so many people for the first time, working in an industry that I knew a little bit about, and I do mean the operational word there is a little. I didn't know much. I came from the insurance industry, where I worked for 25 years. So I knew something about healthcare providers, but I really didn't know very much at all about how nursing homes functioned, about how assisted living was different than a nursing home, really, and when you get down to brass tacks. So I had a lot of learning to do. But it was just, in my mind, an awesome opportunity that was being presented to me. And I was going to seize the day. So that experience, it really gave me an appreciation for the power of this event, quite frankly. My own personal learning experience there those first 3 days. My baptism was through the conference. We have over 200 people here for this conference. It's their first time to our conference. So to me, that's kind of their baptism into the tribe, so to speak. So we hold this as a pretty awesome responsibility, putting on this event, because we know what a big influence this can be in getting people on the right track, turning them on to the power of the Eden philosophy and the Eden principles and what we have to offer. So a lot of thought goes into the conference from the very early stages of where are we going to have it? And that's one of the big questions we have to answer. Well, we decided on Little Rock. And you might wonder, why Little Rock? Of all places in the United States, why would you come to Little Rock? And a very important factor in that was Carol Shockley, whose name you've heard a couple of times. Yep. Carol is a fantastic champion for person-centered, person-directed care as we know it. And she has been for years. She's been trained as an Eden associate. She has staff who have been trained as Eden educators. And most, if not all of her staff, have also been trained as Eden associates. 25 of her staff have been here for this event over the last 3 days. I think that just speaks volumes about where her head is at in terms of the importance of person-directed care, okay, in the world she wants to create for long-term care in the state of Arkansas. So, huge advocate. I saw that. I recognized that. And that, to me, was a very important element in making a choice to be here. We talked about 2 years ago, I said, Carol, do you think if we came to Little Rock, we might be able to work on a grant of some sort and get some funding to help with the event? And she said, I'm wide open to anything. Come to me with some ideas, and we'll kick it around, and we'll figure something out. Well, we went to her several months ago with a proposal, which we ultimately did submit a grant project for CMP dollars, which was approved. And we have those 25 surveyors. We have another 8 ombudsmen, or 9 ombudsmen, I think. I think we have 9 quality partners. And then we have over 40 employees from nursing homes, people who work directly with elders every day, are also here. So we're close to 90 people from the state of Arkansas who are here. Regulators, ombudsmen, quality partners who work every day in the trenches, and the people who actually deliver the care. That, to me, the ingredients for a successful event. So we jumped on that. And many thanks to Carol for helping us to champion that project through. And to me, it's such an example. So bring that back. Whatever state you happen to live or work in, bring that back to your regulators, to your ombudsman. Share with them what's happened here. And encourage them to think in a similar way. Because the collegial relationship that exists here just is going to allow so many good things to happen for the elders receiving care in this state. And I see such adversarial relationships in other states between the regulators and the providers. Bridging those gaps is a huge part, I think, of the success of the work we're trying to do. So I really look at Arkansas as a model. Now you've got something you can point to when you have those conversations. Take advantage of that. Another reason we came to Arkansas is we have some very, very deep-rooted experience going back to around 2006 here, working with AARP of Arkansas. The product, or the curriculum that you know from us as Eden at Home, was birthed here in Arkansas through a collaborative project with AARP of Arkansas. Laura Beck spent many, many weeks working here collaboratively with that organization. We created the curriculum, tested the curriculum, generated some really positive results, and it gave birth to really a completely new side to the Eden business. Up to that point in time, we were very much confined within the walls of nursing homes. This was thanks to some tremendous foresight of leadership, wise leadership. Nancy and Laura and other people in the organization saw that the Eden philosophy, it didn't matter where elders lived. That the Eden philosophy was relevant and important and powerful, and they sought the opportunity to expand Eden's horizons. So back as far as 2006, that work was done. Subsequently, we created a product called Eden at Home, and we have introduced that product to the marketplace. And it's taken a while, but it is really starting to catch on because people are finally waking up to the idea that Eden isn't limited to inside the walls of a nursing home. That we span the entire continuum, that we are in fact relevant no matter where an elder chooses to live, whether it's in their home, their family homestead or apartment, or they happen to be in skilled nursing, and anywhere in between. I think that's hugely important. So again, we're kind of coming back to some roots for Eden at Home. And then the last thing I'll mention is when I was here on the site visit with Karen, one of the beautiful things I think this particular property offers is the walking trail out back along the river. There's a meditation garden, and there's a river walk that has various symbols and sculptures and stuff to motivate people as they're going along. And Karen and I are standing out there, and we see this sculpture, a metal sculpture of a clock. And it says on it, "It's about time." And we look at each other, and it's like, are you thinking what I'm thinking? And I can't tell you, every time we do a conference, there's a lot of discussion and debate about what the theme is going to be. That didn't happen this time around. We saw that clock, we took a picture of it, we went back to the Eden team and said, here's what we're thinking, and it was a big thumbs up immediately. Absolutely, it is about time, and that's going to be our message for this conference. And as you can see, it's everywhere. It's about time. So it was meant to be. We were meant to be here. The theme was meant to be. It has all come together for a reason. So that's a little background. Now, in terms of looking ahead, we're up for suggestions for 2 years from now. So where are we going to land in 2018? It's anybody's guess. If you've got some great ideas, a place that has all the ingredients we're looking for, local support, ease of access, reasonably priced, etc. Eden communities nearby that we can visit. All of that stuff goes into the pot, and we figure out what works. Please let us know. I encourage you to participate in that process. And then once you've decided on a location, the hard work really begins. So what is it we want to talk about? Well, we decided on a theme. It's about time. But how do you build that out and make it into something really meaningful? And how do you leverage what you already have, which is our principles, okay, what we're about every day? Because we're not bringing you here to teach you something completely new. That's not necessary. We have the timeless, and I do mean timeless, Eden principles to build on. The 10 principles that have guided this organization since the early 90s. And that is one of the things that brought me here, was I wasn't looking for some fly-by-night idea, some hot new business, thing that I could jump into. I was looking for something that was tried and true, that had some heart behind it, that was going to be impactful, and Eden met all of those requirements and then some. So when we start thinking about building this program, we say, all right, so how do we want to teach things? How do we want to go about this? And you've heard, if you've gone to our website or you've spent any time with us, you hear we talk a lot about opening hearts and opening minds. That's kind of the framework we talk about and how we reach people. We've got to open their hearts up first, and then we can get their minds to follow. So we got to get to that heart. Well, I think we succeeded in that right out of the blocks when we all arrived here on Tuesday morning. We were all blown away with Miss Sarah, who's our angel. Very appropriate that she likes to dress in white because she is Eden's angel, and she got up here and got things off to just an amazing start, talking about her journey with her husband Joseph and living with forgetfulness and how she found Eden. Then we got a dose of opening minds from Dr. Al Power, who's just an incredible mind. Now, here's a guy who's known Eden since the late 90s, 1997, has written 2 books, but continues to grow, continues to evolve, continues to challenge conventional thinking, and is taking it to new heights. So Al hit on issues like consistent assignment, our language, eliminating terminology like BPSD, and some of the other, call them derogatory terms that we've come up with to describe people living with dementia. The concept of desegregation. Stop segregating elders, and even, and within that, stop segregating people living with dementia. And Al hit on the importance of leadership, which so much of our work comes back to the importance of leadership. It is principle 10 for a reason. Wise leadership, because it's the capstone. Without that, everything else stops. A lot of well-intentioned people working really hard, but spinning their wheels when leadership is not effective and present and supportive. So Al took us through that presentation, and then the remembrance of Hannah, the wise elder Hannah. So back to the opening the hearts. All very important, but very intentional as well. Because that first 90 minutes, we knew that was kind of the make or break. We either engage you at that point or we lose you. And we run the risk of you spending the rest of the next 2.5 days looking for fun stuff to do outside rather than being with us learning. So I think we captured you at that point. And like I said, I didn't see too many people roaming the halls in between, during sessions. So we got you. The It's About Time speakers this morning. Now, we tried that for the first time 2 years ago. You all familiar with TED Talks? That was the inspiration for these short presentations. So we tried it 2 years ago. It went very well. This time around, the speakers just knocked the ball out of the park. Just incredible. I've got so many books to read and so many people to go back and research now. I got a homework assignment as long as your arm, personally. I don't know about the rest of you. But that's good. That's why we're here. is to learn and to grow, and I hope we've given you a lot of grist for the mill, so to speak. So it's about time speakers this morning, the opening on Tuesday, and so many of the things in between, the event last night with Jack, the Eden's Got Talent. All of that gives this event its flavor. It is different than any other conference you've probably ever attended or you will ever attend until you come back in 2 years, hopefully. And that event won't be a clone of this one, believe me, because we know we got to keep it fresh, we got to keep it real, we got to keep people engaged. So it will be different, but those essential ingredients that I talked about are going to be there, because that's what makes Eden Eden. It's what makes this event so very important, and it's why we go through the heartache every 2 years of putting it on, because it is like giving birth. I know I'm not a woman and I can't really speak to that, but I've been in the room. I've seen 4 of them come out, so I do speak somewhat from experience. It is a labor of love, and I do mean that. So what I'm going to wrap up by talking about is the domains of well-being and where I'm at right now. One of the things I wanted to make sure I talk about here is Bill and Jude and their role relative to the organization. And I know everybody loves Bill and Jude, and I know everybody wants Bill and Jude here like every minute of the conference and more if they can get them for that. But I'm just going to tell you right now, given their lives, it's not a realistic expectation. And I would never, ever, ever say that I or any of our staff or anybody else is a substitute for them. They are the spiritual leaders of the organization, and they always will be. They are never going to abdicate that role. But just logistically speaking, they can't always be here as much as we'd like them to be. So Bill had to leave because Bill's working on a new idea that is huge. And I do mean huge. And I am totally supportive of that because Eden's going to have a place in that. Bill and Eden have a very different relationship now. He's off the board. Yes, he's the founder, and he'll always be the founder, but he does not have any direct business relationship with us, and he doesn't have any governance relationship with us. What he does have for us is just the place in his heart for Eden that is always going to be there. Always. I can pick up the phone anytime and call Bill, and he is there for me, as I choose to do that. But I'm cautious. I don't want to wear out my welcome. Jude, the same thing. Now, Jude is still on the board. Jude still has a voice in how the organization functions on a day-to-day basis. Again, she acts as a spiritual leader as well, but she does, in fact, have a governance role. And she treasures that. But she had to leave early this morning because she has a family she still tends to, and she had to get back. So, believe me, she gave her heart and soul to all of us for the 3 days plus that she could be here. And she was so filled up by it. But I've heard some sentiments expressed that people wish Bill and Jude could have been around even more. And I'm just explaining to you the realities, that the organization is moving on, and it's with their blessing. And they will be there to support us, but they're not necessarily going to be there in the same way that they've been there, in the past. And I just have to convey that to you. So they wish us well, and I am looking forward to the next big idea that Bill is in the process of hatching, because I think it's going to present some really exciting opportunities for all of us, but particularly for the Eden Alternative. So I just wanted to mention that. So after 6 years, and yeah, I am the CEO and the president, and I just think you all need to get to know me a little bit better. I need to be a little more out there, and I'm not just the suit that Jack York painted me to be, and I gotta work with him on that. He paints me as that capitalist pig. I have to say, I do firmly believe that if there's no margin, there can be no mission, because we're not going to do anybody any good if we're bankrupt. So Eden has to run like a business to the extent that we can survive. And that's one of the reasons the board brought me in, is because they knew we were at a critical juncture, if we were going to grow and be healthy for the long term, they needed some business acumen, and that's what I brought. But I think I also brought adaptability and the ability to learn and grow, and it's one of the reasons I took the job, because I knew I was at a point in my professional and personal life where I had some work to do on some things, and this just seemed to me to be a perfect opportunity to do that. So I'm going to share with you my personal view of where I am at on the domains of well-being right now. And I mean, as of the moment, having been filled up for 3 days by virtue of being with all of you and being part of this event. So let's start quickly with identity. I'm getting used to the idea of being the president and CEO of the Eden Alternative. You know, when I showed up 6 years ago, I'm this novice greenhorn. You know, I was the CEO of a Blue Cross and Blue Shield plan. I was the president and chief operating officer of another insurance plan. The insurance company I ran was a $100 million plus a year company. The Blue Cross plan I ran was a $250 million organization. So I ran some big companies, but I was scared stiff taking this job because I walked into something that I really didn't know that much about. So there's just a natural fear factor that goes along with that. So I was questioning my professional identity at that point. So yeah, I'm president and CEO. I've had that title before, but I'm in a completely different business. I'm in a business that's dealing with culture change, adult education. What the heck is that? I mean, I've been through training classes, but I've never been involved in building one, in delivering one, pricing one. You know, how do you charge? What do you figure out what to charge on this stuff? So, you know, whereas in the insurance business, you have actuaries who figure that stuff out for you. So anyway, so a lot of new things. So my identity, really 6 years ago, was very much in question. And I would say I've grown slowly. I didn't have a quantum leap. I'd say over 6 years, I've gotten a lot more comfortable with who I am and the role that I have and understanding myself relative to my team. I mean, we're an incredible team because, I mean, there are no two pieces that are alike at the home office. Everybody's got their strengths and weaknesses, and we just patch it together, and everybody helps each other when they're weak, and we leverage people's strengths, and you know, I'm the numbers guy, along with Kathy. Kathy's the spreadsheet queen. So between Kathy and I, we manage all the financial stuff. You know, and Sue's joined the organization now. She manages how it goes into QuickBooks. So we've all got our roles. I'm getting a lot more comfortable in my skin as president and CEO. And if you were here 2 years ago, I spent almost no time up in front of the group, almost none. I spent a lot more time up here at this time around, and you'll probably see me about the same or maybe a little bit more next time. So I don't want to be obnoxious, be too much in your face, but I just want you to be comfortable that the president and CEO of this organization that you all have a heart for is feeling better about where he fits into things. Connectedness, how can you not feel connected as part of this organization? You know, and totally different way of connectedness. I worked in an industry, the insurance business, where you swim with a lot of sharks. Now, there are a lot of people in the insurance business because they care about people and they want to take care of their financial needs. There are a lot of them that are in it because they're money grubbing. And it's all about the buck. And it's all about what you can do for them and help them make their next dollar. That got tired, you know, for me after 25 years. And I was looking for a change. And coming to work with Eden, again, the people I get to work with every day, not just in the home office, but all of you, I mean, night and day difference. And just the connection that I feel with people, hugs versus handshakes. You know, just that was the first thing I experienced in Denver. I walk in and I'm used to the good stiff business handshake, and I got people hugging me left and right. And I'm like, whoa, you know. I mean, I was not real comfortable doing that, but I actually initiate hugs now when I see people. So I've come a long way. Security, I guess that goes along with the first two. And if you remember from Dr. Al's pyramid, where he showed the foundational elements of identity and connectedness, if you're not feeling good in those areas, it's really hard to feel good in the other areas of well-being, the other domains. So the fact that I'm doing well in identity and connectedness, I just feel a lot more secure about myself. I'm comfortable getting up here. I'm comfortable in getting up in front of audiences now and talking, not as a subject matter expert, but somebody who has knowledge about the subject. I'm going to be doing a couple of Alzheimer's Association keynote presentations in a couple of weeks. There's no way I would have done that a couple of years ago. I just would not have felt competent enough to do it. So I'm feeling a lot more secure. Autonomy. My board gives me a ton of autonomy because I've gained trust with them. They allow me to work with the staff to figure out what we need to do to be successful. And that was hugely important to me. That was one of the things I was looking for in a job was, even though I had the president title before, I worked in organizations that were really tough to have any freedom to make a move without senior management, really weighing in and wanting to call the shots. And quite frankly, I became very disillusioned wearing the president's title, knowing that I always had to run my big decisions up the flagpole. I don't have to do that here. So I feel like I got a ton of autonomy. And we're doing some adventurous things as an organization. We're stepping out in a lot of different ways. 2 years ago, we did virtually no grant business. This year, grant revenue is going to represent somewhere around a third or even 40% of our total revenue as an organization. We're going out, we're going after CMP dollars. We're doing really interesting, innovative projects in a lot of different places because we have the freedom to do that. So autonomy, really important. Growth. I'm just growing by leaps and bounds. I'm far from expert in anything, but I am just I'm still like a sponge. I'm 55 years old, but I am still learning, and I know that I'm going to continue to learn. And the reason I know that is because I look at people like Nancy and Evie and Bill Thomas, who have been doing this for a long time, and Al, and I can see they're still evolving. My team, who've been doing this for a long time, they're still evolving, still thinking about what comes next, what's beyond this, and they keep pushing themselves. And that's just unbelievable leadership that I can follow. And I really am grateful for that. And I hope you all are identifying people in your organizations or in this bigger circle that you can look to for mentorship, for leadership. Remember, we do have people we call Eden mentors. They're called Eden mentors for a reason, because there's an expectation that they're going to help other people grow. Not just in their little circle, but anybody in this room can call up any Eden mentor and say, I heard about you. I think I'd like to talk to you and get to know you a little bit better. That opportunity exists for everybody here. That to me is just awesome. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a very self-directed, resilient individual, and there are a lot of situations that comes in very handy. There are a lot of situations where that's very detrimental because you don't know what you don't know. And until you reach out to somebody who's maybe had a similar life experience and has a different insight than you might have, you miss out on that opportunity. I've really had only 1 or 2 people in my professional career that spans now over 30 years that I would consider mentors. And when I look back at the lessons they taught me, just unbelievably important. And shame on me for when I lost them, for whatever reason they moved on or I moved on, that I didn't stay connected to them, or that I didn't find somebody new to learn from because I thought I could do it on my own. So highly encourage all of you to take advantage of this unbelievable network, hopefully, that you've begun to form here through the Eden family, and leverage it as much as possible. And then back in your own organization, seeking people out, elders who have elder wisdom, and coworkers and so on. Just tremendous opportunities for growth that my eyes have been open to. Meaning. Just obviously there's incredible meaning to our work. Incredible meaning. I don't get choked up easily, so I've gotten choked up more than once during this meeting. It just shows to me the deep meaning that this work has. And then I'm involved in other organizations, Pioneer Network and the Dementia Action Alliance. 2 organizations that, again, just bring really deep meaning, to what I'm doing every day. And I see how Eden is part of those organizations, a very integral part of those organizations, and helping to drive that forward. So we've got Eden and our smaller sphere of influence, but then we've got Dementia Action Alliance, Pioneer Network, and these other entities through whom we are pushing the message out to a bigger audience than ever before. So from a meaning standpoint, I feel just incredibly fulfilled. And then finally, joy. Given everything I just talked about, I mean, how could you just not feel a deep sense of joy? Just a thoroughly deep sense of joy, which I do. In a different way than I get from my kids, than I get from my wife, and in other aspects of my life. I feel thoroughly fulfilled and joyous professionally about what I get to experience being part of this family. So I did that not just to give you insight into me, but to also give you insight more into this thing we call the 7 domains of well-being and how powerful a tool that can be in so many different ways. So I'd encourage you all to go back and really deeply think about the domains and where you are at in your professional life, in your personal life, relative to these domains. And think about areas where you can do better. What do you need to go out there and find and do or engage in, whatever, to enhance your well-being in one or more of these domains? Because ultimately, happiness is fleeting, deep joy is not, and I think that's ultimately what we're all striving for, certainly what we want to bring to the lives of the elders we serve. But I will tell you one thing I notice in this business is people are a little too giving of themselves and can ignore themselves in the process. Your well-being is essential to you being able to deliver well-being for your elders. To bring well-being to their lives, you need to be experiencing well-being. I just don't see how it can happen otherwise. So treat yourselves as part of this event to going back and really thinking seriously, and maybe involve your spouse in that process and your children in that process about how you are doing from a well-being standpoint and what needs to change to bring these, to where they need to be. So I hope that's another one of the many gifts that we've given you over the course of the last 3 days. So with that said, I'm going to close by saying, tick-tock. The time has come. The moment for change is now. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. As change agents, we are being called to action. It can be different.
It's about time we not regret aging, because it's a privilege denied to many.
It's about time to realize that adult thinking and adult actions are the enemy of elderhood.
It's about time the entire care team is truly empowered and not impressed upon.
It's about time we realize that what's meaningful for someone may be completely meaningless to someone else.
It's about time to continue to grow and accept nothing but the best from ourselves and others.
It's about time we recognize that culture change is a community affair. Person-directed care is for everyone, no matter who we are, no matter where we live.
It's about time we respect and cherish the wisdom and the experience of the elders in our everyday lives.
It's about time all elders are treated as individuals.
It's about time we engage with and empower consumers with the knowledge and information we need to shift culture change into overdrive.
It's about time we slow down and truly enjoy the company of our elders.
It's about time we put the person first and the report last.
It's about time for the Eden Alternative to move beyond being known for plants, animals, and children in nursing homes and becomes known as the most complete and effective model for person-directed care no matter where elders live.